This video is about functional groups. Obviously, you can tell from the title of the organizer. Currently, we're looking at page 425, but again, organizer pages might change as we move things around. So functional groups are things that are attached to organic molecules. And so they are, as you can see here, a specific group of atoms bonded in a particular way. And functional groups actually are responsible for doing all the reactions. If you have just a saturated hydrocarbon, if you have just an alkane, there's not really any place for those single carbon-carbon or carbon-hydrogen bonds to react. They're very unreactive. But as soon as you start adding either a double bond or a triple bond or more significantly a functional group, then you can have reactions happen. And the kinds of reactions that happen at those functional groups are very predictable. So if we need to take small molecules that have functional groups and create bigger molecules, we know what kind of functional groups to use in order to get the kind of structure that we need for bigger things. So it's important that you understand functional groups. If you're taking AP Chem next year, we do a little bit of functional group stuff, but AP Bio is where you really see a lot of functional groups. So this is actually a really good organizer to hang on to if you're doing AP Chem or AP Bio. All right, so a little bit of information here. You can see that in here, you see an R on some of the structures. R simply stands for the rest of the molecule. So R is how many carbons are there. So notice methanol has just a CH3 for the R. Ethanol has a CH3CH2 for the R. So we honestly, learning functional groups, we don't care about what the R is. What we care about is what the other atoms are. So we're going to go down through the different functional groups. I'm going to point out some properties to you. The ones with oxygens, there's so many of them, they all start to look the same. So it's important that you kind of make note of, in particular, is that functional group an end functional group, or does it have to be within the chain of carbons? Because that's going to help you differentiate. All right, so alcohols are the most common functional group that we are going to come across in chemistry. Alcohols have an OH, which is not hydroxide because we're not looking at ions, we're talking about covalent bonds. So a functional group that is OH is called a hydroxyl group. So all you see is COH. So again, if you look at the examples, CH3OH, CH3CH2OH. So every alcohol has an OH attached to it. Now, when you name alcohols, alcohols are one of the few molecules that I want you to be able to name. The suffix that you give it is OL. So if you take a look at our examples, methanol is methane with an OH instead of that fourth H. Ethanol is ethane with one of those H's replaced by an OH. So methane becomes methanol when you add a hydroxyl group to it. Okay, so you can see it's pretty simple. So the hydroxyl group can be attached to any carbon because you only need one bond for it. So you can have the O at the end of the chain, like 1-propanol, or you can have the O attached to, it's actually attached to the center carbon there. The OH is attached there for 2-propanol or isopropyl alcohol. So notice 1-propanol has the OH attached to the first carbon, 2-propanol has the OH attached to the second carbon. So again, the characteristics that you learned from other organic molecules are still holding true when we start naming things with functional groups. All right, so like I said, the alcohol is something that you need to know how to name, you need to know how to recognize, and we use it a lot, so you're going to see it a lot. The next functional group is called a ketone. Okay, so notice the difference. Alcohols were an end functional group. Ketones actually are a middle functional group. Notice that they have to be bonded to a center carbon. There's a carbon on either side of the carbon that's bonded to that double oxygen. So this is called a carbonyl group. That's what makes a ketone. Again, a ketone is one of the ones that I want you to be able to name. So look, the suffix is ONE. So where you would have just propane, you add that double bonded oxygen, take away the two hydrogens, put a double bonded oxygen there, it becomes propanone. Or it's more commonly known as acetone, which is fingernail polish remover, you know that. Okay, so ketones, center functional group. You never see a ketone on the end because If you see a carbon double bonded oxygen on the end, if that carbon is not bonded to two other carbons, if it's bonded to a hydrogen, it becomes an aldehyde. Okay, so ketones and aldehydes look very similar. Ketones are in the middle of the chain, aldehydes are at the end of the chain. Okay, aldehydes you can name with an AAL ending. So methanal is actually more commonly known as formaldehyde. So here's methanal, it's H, C, double bonded O, and then another H. So that's methanal, aldehyde. Another one that I want you to be able to name is a carboxylic acid. These you're going to see everywhere in bio, or you already have even first year. Carboxylic acids kind of have the combination of a carbonyl group and a hydroxyl group. So you've got this guy. Now look at it. The carbon definitely got to be an end carbon. Sometimes you'll see it abbreviated COOH. Separating the two O's lets you know that one of them is double bonded, one of them is single bonded. You've actually already seen this already because acetone, or not acetone, acetic acid, acetate ion, is actually a carboxylic acid derivative. So, carboxylic acids, the ending is oic acid. So, if you look over here at the example, acetic acid, which is based on the acetate ion, can also be formally called ethanoic acid because you have the CH3COOH. This should look very familiar to you. There's the acetate ion there. CH3COO minus, you put the H on there, it becomes acetic acid. All right, so I want you to be able to name alcohols, OL ending, ketones, ONE ending, aldehydes, AL ending, there it is, okay, and carboxylic acids, oic acid ending. You also need to be able to recognize these guys and draw simple ones. If I asked you to draw pentanoic acid, I would hope that you would know that pent is 5 carbons. Oic acid means you've got a carboxylic acid group on the end. Okay, so those are the oxygen functional groups that I want you to know, how to name and recognize. There's a few more that I want you to be able to recognize. And those are on the back of your organizer. Okay. Oh, shoot, my marker bled. So ethers are just an oxygen in the chain of oxygen. So if you take a look at the example, CH3CH2O, CH2CH3. Okay. There's the oxygen in the middle of the chain. It's not sticking above. It's not attached to any particular carbon. It's just within the carbon chain. So those are called ethers. Not to be confused with esters. An ester looks like a carboxylic acid. But carboxylic acids have to go on the end because that O has an H attached to it. Esters are in the middle of the chain. Just like ethers, these guys are both in the middle of the chain. And you see that there's another carbon rather than a hydrogen there. So that's what makes this different than a carboxylic acid. So you need to really take some time and examine the different structures to get comfortable with them. You don't have to know how to name ethers or esters. You just have to recognize their formulas. So an ether is just an oxygen in the chain. So ethers and alcohols, I suppose you could think of as being similar. The alcohol is on the end. The ether is in the middle of the chain. It's just an oxygen bonded to a carbon. And then carboxylic acids, end of the chain, because it's got to have an OH. Esters, middle of the chain, because you need another carbon attached to it. Okay, so again, you don't have to know how to name these guys. But that takes care of the functional groups with oxygen. Other functional groups that I want you to be able to recognize, amines have nitrogen. So there's primary, secondary, and tertiary. Depends on how many carbons that nitrogen is bonded to. But for us, we're just going to all call them amines. You don't have to name amines. You just have to recognize them. Halocarbons are the other thing that I want you to know how to name, but they're pretty easy. You name a halocarbon just like you would where a methyl group would be. So you use a number to indicate where the halogen is. So halocarbon, so you have something like chlorofluorocarbon, carbon tetrachloride, okay, tetrachloromethane. There's 4 chlorines instead of 4 hydrogens there. Trichloroethane, okay, so ethane, 2 carbons, 3 chlorines. Why do I have it 111 trichloroethane? Because they're all on the first carbon. So marking where the halogens are is just the same way you would mark where a methyl group is. You're going to use a number, and then you're going to name how many of those there are. So if, for example, you had something like this, okay, you would call this, well, it doesn't matter which direction you go, 2-bromo-3-chlorobutane. 2-bromo, because it's on the second bromine. 3-chloro, because it's on the third chlorine. Butane, because there's 4 carbons in the chain. Okay, so pretty simple in terms of nomenclature for halocarbons. Two other things that I want you to recognize. Thiols have sulfurs. Okay, so amines were the nitrogen functional group. Thiols are the sulfur functional group. And then phenols actually have this 6-carbon ring. If you remember, it looks like benzene with an attachment. So when we did that first lab, you guys did toluene. Toluene is actually CH3 with a phenyl group attached to it, if you think about it this way. So that 6 carbons in a row with double single alternating bonds, that's called a phenyl group when it is bonded to other carbons, and it acts as a functional group. There are reactions that take place around that functional group. All right, so you've seen all the functional groups. It is up to you to learn how to recognize them. We're going to give you a break, though. We're going to give you a version of this organizer, not nearly as explicit as this. I'll hand that out to you in class. We're going to give you a version of this organizer that will act as a cheat sheet, essentially, because the turnover time for learning these things is really short this year. So we're going to let you use a functional group recognition set in order to take a test or a quiz or the final even at the end of the year. So that's the good thing, but you want to be efficient, so you got to get comfortable with this. You also have to know how to name things, because I'm not giving you how to name things on the little cheat sheet that I give you. I'm just giving you the recognition of what the functional group is. So you still have to know how to name them. So let's just quickly review one more time. You have to name alcohols with the OH. You have to name ketones with the C double bonded oxygen in the middle of the chain. You have to name aldehydes with the C double bonded oxygen at the end of the chain, because the carbon is also attached to a hydrogen. You have to be able to name carboxylic acids with the COOH. Can you see it kind of looks like a ketone and alcohol combined? And then the other one that I want you to know how to name are the halocarbons. Okay, so I'm not giving you any help on the cheat sheet with naming. I will give you help with recognizing things. So I'll give you essentially these 2 columns on the cheat sheet that you can use on any test or quiz. Okay, so you've got some problem sets to work on with the functional groups to practice, and we'll do activities in class as well. All right, thanks for listening.